Well, I was just about to do one of these on my camera, but a card was full and I don't have one of the lightning USB-C to SIM card ports. I'm just gonna have to do it on here and just patch it all up together later. But been working at this job for about probably close to just a little over a month, I guess. And I'm very grateful to have a job, but it is still very hard to go in the morning, and I'm at work for 10 hours a day, so they give you an hour for lunch, but in my eyes, time that I don't spend at home or working on something that I want to do is company time, so I consider it 50 hours because I'm there 50 hours a week. So I'm up at 5:30 and get off at 5. And then I go work out, and I just have almost no energy to do very much when I get home. So that's really challenging. It's been very, 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 very challenging to kind of reconcile and deal with. And sometimes it's just so hard. And God is the only force that gets me up in the morning, I feel like he really is the only thing that can get me up in the morning. Because it's 9 o'clock, and I'm just crazy how much energy I expend. And lately I've been realizing that I am the hardest working person that I know. And I don't say that with contempt, but I do say it with pride, in the sense that, except for a handful of people that are doing what we would consider non-traditional line of work, nobody that I know right now immediately works harder than I do. I think I run in a circle or two where people work equally as hard, but I don't know anybody that works harder than me. And what I mean by that is when I'm working 50 hours a week and I leave on Friday at 5, most people are taking it down a notch, and I'm going into sport mode. And I very rarely go out on the weekends. Most of my weekend is I usually have like one night where I drink just to kind of relax, but other than that, it's up very late and getting up earlier than I usually would on the weekends. And it is just a grueling cycle. It's just a grueling mirage of a wake-sleep cycle. The second that I wake up, I'm fantasizing about leaving work that day. And it's not that my job is so terrible, but it doesn't pay very well, and it's very stressful, so I can barely afford this apartment, and I just need to be a little bit smarter with how I manage my money. And I'm just pressing harder than ever right now because I just want to be done working there so bad. I really, really, really want to just be done working there. Because it's just, it is so just against my nature to not work on music all the time. And that is just how it's been for a while. And, there's just so much that goes into it, with buying beats and paying engineers and it's just such an expensive thing to endeavor on, you know? And this is my dad's wedding ring, by the way. I just have it as a keepsake. If I get married one day, I'll wear it. I would like to get married. Just don't know if I found the right girl yet. And that's another thing. I just like, I was talking to Alex. I had seen this video on Instagram, and this guy was talking about the concept of like getting unplugged from the Matrix. And you know, in that movie, Neo gets unplugged from the Matrix, and he's suddenly woken up, right? And he realizes that everything is a lie and that nothing is real. And it's just this completely devastatingly cataclysmic thing that happens, that whenever you realize it, remember in the movie, you know, when he gets unplugged from the Matrix, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the Matrix, I'm sorry. It's like 20, 30 years old, so I'm sorry if you haven't seen it. But in the movie, whenever he gets unplugged from the Matrix, he realizes that the laws of physics don't apply to him anymore. And, you know, he can like fly around and do all this crazy stuff and like dodge bullets. And that is what has happened to me in terms of how we view work and life and stuff. And I've been unplugged from that, which is cool and really, really scary. Because it's like, I just realized that like the rules, and I say the rules, I'm not like a criminal, but I'm just saying like the status quo is completely, the veil has been lifted in a sense. And once you realize that, you pretty much have the power to like defy physics, or in this example, you know, defy the rules of what society says is the proper like steps for having like a career or whatever, which is so weird. And I just do not see things the same anymore. And it can come across as condescending or maybe very prideful, but it's just true. I mean, the truth of it is that I just cannot see things the way other people see them. And it's like I haven't chosen that. I haven't chosen to say, you know, I don't care about the status quo, whatever. But the reality is I just, even if I tried to rewire my brain in the way that most people think about work and career and stuff, I just couldn't do that. It's just not possible for me to do that. And I think about how hard it is to work at this job, like just the bare day-to-day tasks are hard and very stressful, and you have to have incredible multitasking abilities. I'm not even joking around, and I'm getting better at it, but oh my God, just the level of multitasking cognition you need is fucking ridiculous. And I think about how hard that is, and I go home and I'm just spent, and I go to work out for an hour every day, and I go hard, and I am very strict about what I eat for the most part. I mean, I'm not skin and bones, but you know, I try really hard to stay in shape. and doing all these other things and not hanging out on the weekends and not going out on the weekends almost ever, and not watching as much TV or no TV at all. I watch like maybe a YouTube video before I go to bed. And I think about all these things, and I think about what would my life look like if I didn't have this drive for my art, you know? And that is such a crushing feeling. Like, I just cannot imagine how terrible that would be, how sad that would be. For me not to have like a higher purpose or like a higher calling or a higher ambition. Like, imagine if what I was just doing at work was it for me and I wanted to climb my way into that corporate jungle. Like, that is the most soul consuming, just awful. That would be horrible if I didn't have this drive for something better. And, you know, I've decided that if I were to make the exact same amount of money, which is not very much, at this job, if I were to make it with my music, I would be okay with that. Now, realistically, if you're going to make that much in music, you're probably going to make a lot more, which is cool. You know, I prefer not to be struggling to pay my rent and struggling to make ends meet. But it's just hard. Like, the opposition, and, you know, I'm always forever having, I feel like I'm always gonna have a chip on my shoulder when I feel like people don't believe in me. But the reality is I don't blame those people. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but I don't blame those people for not being like, yeah, you're gonna make it for sure. I mean, I can very much see why they might not think I'm not gonna make it, because, you know, my stuff's not that good yet. It's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. But the thing is the reason I don't sound like Drake or Travis or Uzi or Cardi or Kanye is because I don't have millions of dollars to invest on each album that I make or each song that I make. And the budget for one song for me is around $500, which is a lot of money for me right now. But the budget for one of Travis Scott's songs could be $200,000. So you can understand why I don't sound like that yet, because I don't have that money yet, right? Not that you can still make good music without a crazy high budget, but I also don't have all the time in the world to work on it, right? I'm not doing it full time yet, so my stuff isn't going to be as good, right? Yeah, it's just been so fucking lonely, man. And it's just incredibly alienating to do this shit. And for one, it's just, you know, I've caused part of that because I don't have very much to give in terms of relationships. You know, I don't have a girlfriend, and I'm always seeing beautiful girls, and, you know, I think, damn, like, that would be so cool to be with one of those beautiful girls, but almost immediately I'm just not interested, because what are they going to think when I tell them that I'm a rapper? You know, I mean, not that I give a fuck. I'm just saying, like, Most girls are not going to be interested in some guy that is a rapper who isn't already fucking famous, right? So I know that when it happens and when I start getting some heat, that's all going to change. I'm completely aware of that. And there's something to be said about seeing attraction in a partner that has success, you know, like, I can understand why that's appealing, but it's like, there's this girl that works at the gym that I go to, and she's like super pretty and like just seems really nice. I don't really know anything about her, but you know, we just say hi or whatever. But I think, what would she think if the situation were to allow it, to hit it off and start hanging out? Like, how long would I keep from her that I'm a rapper? I've thought about this a lot because nobody at my work knows that I'm a rapper except one guy, one dude who we were like both working on a Sunday and it was really slow, and then we were just talking about like cars and different stuff, and you know, I could tell he was a cool dude, just seemed pretty down to earth, like he just really wouldn't give a rat's ass. And I told him, like, yeah, like nobody here knows this, but I'm a rapper and I want to keep it that way, so don't tell anybody, please, because I don't want that to be my thing there yet. I want to drop a fucking atom bomb on these people, not in a spiteful way, but like when I'm able to quit that job, I want to say the situation has presented itself that has afforded me the ability to not need to work here anymore financially. And then I'm going to write a handwritten letter to each of the people on my team and explain to them that I've enjoyed working with them. I think they're very nice people and that I've had the opportunity to pursue my career in music full time. And nobody there knows that, which is so crazy except for this one guy who seems cool and seems like a bro, and you know, he's the only person there that knows that. And I literally put on this mask when I go into work, like this facade that I'm some clean cut, no dream having fuck. And I really don't want to come across as being condescending when I'm like, I'm Superman because I have the ability to pursue my dreams, right? But the reality is that I am very different, and I am somewhat I'm not a superhero, but I am literally like, you know, again, I try not to chip my shoulder. Most people don't give a fuck about me, realistically. Most people do not give a shit. They probably see me on Instagram, hear a song I'm doing, see some shit I'm doing, they're like, that's cool, or that's stupid. And they don't probably think about it for anything longer than 2 seconds. But for my closer friends that I've had over the years, and they've seen how much this means to me, and I can just tell them, whatever. They don't really see my vision, or they don't believe in me. People don't understand that you get to a point when you get unplugged from the fucking matrix that you do not give a... You just don't care what people think anymore because you know what they think does not matter. And yes, the essence of my career path is I want people to like me because if they like me, they'll like my music. Ergo, I can pay my bills with it, right? So yes, at some point, yes, I want people to like me, okay? Yes, that is human nature, but I'm saying I don't give a rat's ass what people think about my ambitions. I don't. I just don't, because I know what they think does not matter, whether good or bad. If they think that that's cool and good, like, yes, that's preferable. I prefer them to think that. But if people are like, man, like, I just don't see it, you're not going nowhere with that, you should just do some normal shit. That's fine, I don't care, because I know that them thinking that does not have any effect on my ability to be effective, right? I mean, it might make me discouraged, and that might hurt my ability to be effective, but it realistically, they can't stop me from doing this. And it just, you have to be able to constantly put yourself up for putting yourself up for ridicule and humiliation and people just not getting it. But again, I've been unplugged from that whole menagerie of, this is how you do life, and that's why I got coward tattooed, because I know that if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I'm a fucking coward, and that's why I got this one. And it is just, I can have all the gumption and audacity I want, but at the end of the day, sometimes it is just fucking hard to do shit. And it's just hard. But I have done a couple demos that people have really, really responded to very well, which is super encouraging, and it makes me feel really good. And I'm very excited about the possibility of those songs putting me on the map to some degree. But it's like I have to almost like dissociate when I go into work and just get out of my own way, to quote the famed Robert Downey Jr. And it is just a play-by-play, moment-by-moment thing that I do. Because I could feel really shitty one day on a Saturday and be like, I know I should be working on music, because if I don't get it done this weekend, then what does that mean? That means I have to go to work again the next week, and I have to go through all that bullshit. And again, for people that want to do whatever job, cool. If that's good for you, good, but it's not good for me. And I don't give a fuck what people say. Because you know what? The reason that not everybody can do this shit is because they do not have the fucking stones and audacity to constantly put themselves out there for rejection and ridicule and hatred and people thinking they should just shut up. Okay, so if I'm willing to put myself up there and pay that price of not hanging out ever, not going out, not doing anything fun, because I am always sacrificing my time and energy to make this a reality, then I, by definition, deserve this solely based on that I'm putting the work in. It's not because I'm not gonna arrive there and be like, I deserve this shit. It's like that, but it's not, because I think everything is a blessing, and I think God allows me to be able to do that, because I think that's what I'm called to do, right? But these people the reason very few people are able to live that lifestyle, the rap lifestyle or music or fame or whatever you want to call it, the reason very few people get that opportunity is because not very many people are willing to walk that path, because it can be very ugly, it can be very hard, it can be very lonely, it can be very challenging, it can be extremely hard, it can exacerbate mental illness. I recently at work, I started writing things down wrong and typing things in wrong, that I have never done that. Like my auditory physical cognition is suffering because I am stretching my brain so thinly, which is damn, I'll have to ask people to repeat things multiple times and still get it wrong, like writing a number down or something. And I'm just like, fuck. Most people aren't willing to pay that price. Most people, when they get home from work, it is fucking just not doing shit until you have to clock in the next day. And that is not how it is for me. And people are going to say that it's, my come up is on accident or it's by chance, but I mean, working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, I don't think that's an accident. And there will be this self-righteous maybe that's not the right word. There will be a sense of vindication when this pays my bills, because I have sacrificed a lot. And I'm sorry to get on my soapbox here, but people don't understand. Nobody sees this kind of shit. Nobody sees this shit. Nobody sees that you get home from work and you're fucking exhausted because you were just at work for 10 fucking hours. And you think, well, now I gotta get to work. That's what that line is in Long Game. When I get home from work, my real work begins, right? And I honestly just don't care what anybody thinks. Explicitly, egregiously, offensively, I don't give a fuck what people think anymore about this. Like, yeah, maybe that's just not a right path for you. You know, maybe that's just not maybe that's not the, like as if there were something, not that there was something better, but I'm saying like, you know, like when people are just like, you know, you just need to do normal shit or whatever the fuck. That's okay for them, but that is not okay for me. And I act like people are all up in my shit trying to get me to stop. But it's like, sometimes you can just feel it, man. And that's why it's lonely. It's fucking so lonely. But I know it's worth it. I really know it is worth it. Because if the time it takes for me to pay my bills with this is 5 years, God, I hope it's shorter than that. I don't want to be in this state for 5 years. It is, there aren't words. Like hallucinating from sleep deprivation and shit, and it's just fucking rough. But if it takes 5 years, then I'll be 28 and I'll never have to work at some bullshit job in it ever again. I'd rather sacrifice those 5 years. Please, God in heaven, don't let it be 5 years. Oh, that would be horrible. Because that's another thing, is I'm very afraid of becoming old. Very afraid of becoming old. I'm very afraid of becoming old and trapped in some job that I hate. People are like, you should suck it up. Fuck that. And that is why those people will not be able to do what I do. And that's why they're not able to do what I do. And again, I really hope this doesn't come across as self-righteous, but there has to be something there. It has to be said. It has to be said. It has to. And just because I'm the one saying it does not necessarily mean it is any less true or covered in bias. I mean, yeah, of course there's a bias, but it has to be said. It just does. The reason those people, the reason those rappers, those artists, those whatever, free thinkers, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the reason they get to live the way that they live is because they have sacrificed. It afforded them the opportunity to live that way. And I want that. I want to be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want. Not so I can just get high and drunk all the time. I just want to be able to make money doing what I really like to do. And it's so surreal. I had some really cool, awesome, like I said, some of the songs I post on Instagram were like getting a lot of attention. One of my buddies sent him a snippet. He said, I just showed some of my friends this and like they think it's hard. Like he said, if someone offered to sign you yet? And that was weird whenever he said that. And it just like really kind of, it's just weird being unplugged from the matrix like that, man. Because you recognize, like, I think it's like right now when I'm recording this, I think I'm close. I really think I'm close to some big stuff. And that is a very strange feeling. A good feeling. But it's weird. It's so weird. Because the problem with a lot of this is sometimes you feel like you're not getting anything done. You don't feel like you're doing anything productive. You feel like it is just throwaway time. You're just throwing it in the trash. I mean, not really because you're working, but it's like, fuck, like, you almost think about this whole music thing from what I've experienced so far. Unfortunately, it is not a steady progression of return on investment. It is almost immediately a lump sum return. So what I mean by that is, in terms of traditional investments, you slowly accumulate returns on a financial investment, right? You slowly make the money over time with the money that you put in. You put in a chunk of money, or maybe you put in a little bit of money at a time, and then you slowly start to receive money back on that investment. But with this, with this whole scenario of doing music and trying to pay your bills with it, or trying to make a living out of it, or a career out of it, it's like taking every means of worth that you have, your time, your actual money, your energy, your spirit, and every day, everything that you have, all you have, everything, all your energy, all your aura, all your money, or a lot of it, goes into this music thing. And there's just this giant line where you're just investing. Imagine this line right here. So you started right here, and you're investing, and all this time there's no payoff until you get right here, and that's where it starts. So this whole time this could be 1 year, 2 years, however long, right? And imagine no return on investment until that very end, where it all happens at once, and then you're set. I mean, it's still hard work, and you still have to give your time, energy, and etc. But I'm saying, like, it's not like, at least from what I can tell so far, it's like a atomic bomb going off. And I want to be ready for that. I don't want to have any drug problems. I don't want to have any, drinking problems, or I want to be in the right mind space. So then when that does happen, I want to be ready for it. And I think every day I'm getting closer and closer to being ready. So when it does happen, I'm ready. And I'm only going to have to get more disciplined. But I won't be having to work 50 hours out of my week. That time will go back into music. Which is so cool to think about. It's just such a part of my personhood. I don't even know how to do anything. It's who I am, man. And to continually fight against the opposition of the world and how it decides you should live your career life, to having to constantly fight against that every minute is so hard. Like, it's 9:25 and I'm already stressed about being tired in the morning. I got to take a shower and fold my laundry and do some other stuff. So I've just realized that no reinvestment of time onto recreation would justify, like, I just can't imagine doing anything any other way. Because if I died tomorrow, that'd be a bummer. But I want to know that I was going the hardest that I possibly could, and then some. I want to be the hardest worker in the room. When I walk in the room, I want to be the hardest working person there. Fuck, it's lonely though. Shit, fuck. God. So lonely, man. It's part of it. I won't always be like that. I think about going out on the weekends with my family or my friends, having the ability to pay my bills with my music, and that's such a rich feeling, such a fantasy. And I've realized that the fantasy that I have of bringing these dreams to reality are now not enough. I have to bring them to reality. The fantasizing about this life and this path is not enough for me anymore. And it's powerful to drive on my way to the gym or on the way to work and think about, or I'm at my desk at work, like, wow, like being on tour, doing dope stuff, doing live shows, reaping the reward of my sacrifice. Like, wow, that's so cool. Oh my God, I can't imagine like, getting to buy a cool car that I really want with money from music. Like, wow, that's so cool. But that fantasy isn't enough for me anymore. I am insatiable. I just can't be satisfied with the daydreaming anymore. It's just not enough anymore. It's not enough anymore.